The Hype House has been accused of scamming fans. Logan Paul will pay you to wrestle him. James Charles has been dragged for a racist TikTok. And of course, it's return of YouTuber Watch. Who will it be this week? All this, plus I'll be doing a full reading of the lyrics of WAP. I haven't heard the song yet, but I'm sure it's very wholesome. On this week's edition of YouTuber News, hosted by me, Benedict Townsend, at Benedict Town, and brought to you by PopBuzz, the only website that thinks that Chriselle from Selling Sunset is an angel of light who must be protected at all costs, while Davina is the devil incarnate. These are the rules. I don't make them, I just enforce them. Yes, welcome back everybody. My name is Benedict Townsend, filling in for our usual host Rex Tibbins, who is overheated, so he's sitting with a little hand fan and feeling parched. I'll be filling in, hope that's okay. And our first story is about the Hype House, because you see they've been accused of doing a scam. Yes, TikTok's Hype House is facing backlash after they promised fans free chains, but then they turned out not to be so free after all. Now we all know what the Hype House is. It's a big house where a load of YouTubers. That would make sense. The show is YouTuber News, but no, TikTokers. It's a giant creator house in Los Angeles with loads of big TikTok stars in it. Formerly the home of Charlie D'Amelio and Dixie D'Amelio, but they've moved out. But you still got Lil Huddy there. You still got Thomas Petru and all the gang. And on August the 11th, they dropped Hype Chains, which were these silver chains, which were promoted by members of the house. And it was announced by the guy in charge of the Hype House, the aforementioned Thomas Petru. And he posted on Instagram. And the fun part was he said, these chains are completely free. No cost at all. No money needs to be exchanged. All you have to pay one thing, is shipping. You pay a little bit of shipping, and then these chains, they're free. And these chains, folks, these chains are worth a lot of money. I don't know why I'm going into a weird Trump thing. So, great deal, you know, you got an amazing silver chain worth loads of money, that's completely free, you got shipping costs $20, and then you get your chain, and that's fine. It's the obvious ABC, free chain, $20 worth of shipping, regardless of where you are in the US. Doesn't matter if you're down the street or across the country, it costs $20, weirdly consistent. And then you get your chain and it's free and it seems great. The official website says that the 20-inch chains are worth $100, are silver plated, and have fake diamonds. So this sounds incredible. You're getting a $100 chain for free, plus $20 shipping. I mean, this is a great deal. You're getting $100 worth of fake diamonds for free. I pay so much money for my fake diamonds. But yes, I was hinting at it before, fans noticed that the shipping and handling fee was $19.58, regardless of where you were in the United States. And one YouTuber pointed out that the US Postal Service typically charges around $3.80 for a package of that size, and if you want same-day shipping, that's about $7, because of course it's a chain, it's like this big. It's not like it's big and heavy. I mean, those fake diamonds are pretty chunky, but it shouldn't cost you $20. Another suspicious detail is that on the website it says that you can only buy one chain at a time. And it says, quote, if you want multiple free chains, free in capital letters, make multiple orders. In other words, instead of just ordering 3 chains and we'll just send it to you once, buy 3 chains and pay $19 shipping on each separate chain. It's almost like this money isn't for shipping or something. Now weirdly, Jake Paul did almost the exact same thing last year when he gave out a free Team 10 chain on his website, which was also listed at $100, and the shipping and handling for that turned out to be $14.83. So to be fair, Jake Paul's scam is cheaper. My lawyers, of course, reminded me that this isn't a scam. So it seems, yes, that nothing is truly free in this world, except of course YouTuber News, which I deliver to you every week, completely free, minus the handling costs, but that happens, you know, in the back end of your iPhone, and you don't even know about it, so don't worry. But let me just say, my PayPal, filling up. Right, guys, I'm not gonna have lawyers in the studio if you're gonna keep shaking my head at me after every joke. Or in this case, factual statement. Our second story, Logan Paul will pay you a lot of money to wrestle with him. Look, in our lives, we all need physical contact sometimes. You know, sometimes you just get a hug, or sometimes to be wrestled by a stranger. And in Logan Paul's case, he's willing to pay $10,000 to, quote, any influencer who can beat him in a wrestling match. He made the invitation via a tweet, and obviously this is some kind of publicity stunt, because every single thing Logan Paul says and does is a publicity stunt in some way. This one, I don't know, for Logan Paul, just seemed kind of lame, you know? He usually goes a bit bigger than this, like 10K is nothing to him. In a world where Mr. Beast is spending like $10 million a day on lottery tickets and buying islands and all this kind of stuff, 10K is like kind of nothing. Obviously in the real world, 10K is a lot of money, but in the crazy influencer world, that's like drop in the ocean. That's like a fake diamond in a sea of real diamonds. But that doesn't mean that he wasn't soon inundated with offers from people who wanted to wrestle him, or more likely people who wanted $10,000. One user wrote, quote, "I can absolutely destroy Logan Paul in a fight, and I've never been more sure of anything in my life. Please retweet if you want to watch this guy get beat up by a girl." But they're gonna have to get in line because some big names have already put their names down to possibly grapple with this horrible man, including James Charles, Future, and Corinna Kopf. Just realized I've never said her name out loud, but that lady whose name is Corinna. Or Karina? And of course, a lot of people were tweeting KSI, suggesting him, because, you know, those two had a fight. Be a bit lame after their big dramatic boxing match if they then just had a little wrestle in someone's living room, but, you know, we're all bored after lockdown, we'll take what we can get. But Logan may regret this offer because an actual Olympic wrestler, Ben Askren, has also responded saying, quote, "I'll pin you in less than a minute, bad hip and all." And Logan came back and did some banter, and they had some whole banter. Will this ever happen? Who knows? But I know that I, myself, am probably the most influential influencer in the world. I also know that, you know, I've had a wrestle or two with famous YouTubers, mostly because they try and storm in here demanding to be on the show. Please, I want to be on YouTube News. I like it and I know what it is. I've heard of it. And I go, I know you all like it and have heard of it and watch it every week, but get out of my studio. And sometimes I have to wrestle them to the ground and get them out of the studio. So I don't even want to jokingly take Logan Paul up on this offer. Logan Paul is a very large, strange man. It's the strangeness more than the largeness that frightens me. Oh, of course, yeah, I would do it. But unfortunately, I can't fly to America because of, you know, the situation. So unfortunately, I can't wrestle Logan. But in a normal year, you better believe. Our third story, Jake Charles. It's so hot, I can't. Our third story, James Charles is being dragged for a problematic TikTok. And I have to say I feel sorry for James Charles because there seems to be a pattern of things that happen, which is that something becomes viral, something becomes a trend. And perhaps that thing is problematic, I won't deny it. But what tends to happen is a trend comes along, tons and tons of people do it, then James Charles does it, then everyone gets mad and calls him out for the trend. He didn't invent the trend. Tons of people before him had done it, but he's the one that everyone takes all their rage out on. This particular trend is a TikTok trend, let me explain it, where there's some Indian music in the background. There's a woman sort of singing, doing amazing like vocal, it's almost like scales. And there's a filter on TikTok where you have like a big mouth. And the trend is just that you like sing along to it and you have a big mouth. And people are annoyed because they think it's making fun of Indian culture or Indian music. And like I said, tons of people did this trend. Everyone was pretty quiet. James Charles does this trend. Everyone's like, James Charles, you racist bastard. How dare you invent this trend? I don't know how much I can defend him because yeah, he did the trend that people don't like, but why is James Charles always the tipping point? It must be exhausting being James Charles, waking up every day and discovering that everything you did was bad. Except of course for all the stuff he's done that is bad. You know, that stuff is like fair play, but one user wrote, quote, James Charles and anybody else who thinks mocking Indian culture is funny. You guys are so quick to drink your chai tea and have temporary henna tattoos and appropriate the out of our culture. Sit down and shut the up. Now, despite the criticism, it looks like James Charles, you know, isn't letting it get to him, probably because this happens to him about 4 times a week, and he responded to the issue in an Instagram post saying, quote, 1.8 million other people made this video, yet I'm the one getting cancelled, lol. I thought the filter was funny, not the song. The singing is impressive as hell, but I deleted the video because I obviously didn't mean to offend. Fair enough. I mean, it's up to each individual person to choose to accept that apology or not, but I think we can all agree people like being mad at James Charles. Now it's time for YouTuber Watch, a popular segment where I zero in on one YouTuber and tell you what they got up to this week. And this week, for a change, it's Dan Howe. It's time for Dan Howe Watch. Welcome to Dan Howe Watch. I'm Neil Buchanan and this is an art attack. What's Dan been up to this week? Well, last week, as you know, Dan and the rat somehow had their bodies switched so that Dan was inside the body of the rat and the rat was somehow in the body of Dan. And they went to a wizard, Tim Factory, the inventor of factories, to get their bodies switched back. But he said that he would only do so if they completed some mysterious tasks. And this week, we've got a report from someone called Alyssa Crow. As you know, every week I send out YouTuber News viewers into the world to gather reports on what Dan's been up to. And she was near the factory at the time and sent me this report about exactly what happened. Thank you, Alyssa. And this is what happened. All right then, what are these tasks we have to do? Said Dan in the rat's body. Well, as you know, I'm a very exciting man, but I also enjoy culture, such as cuisine, cooking, and preparing food. Where could could you possibly be going with this? Screamed Dan. Hold on. Your horses need to be held because I'm about to explain. You need to cook me a fabulous meal. A meal that reminds me of my childhood and brings it back in a glorious flashback. And you only have 10 minutes, so hop to it. Get to the factory kitchen and cook me something amazing. And also, it needs to be Dan that cooks the meal because I know the rat is good at cooking. Where could this be going? So they went into the kitchen and he's like, and I'll be watching you through CCTV. When they got to the kitchen door, before they went into the room, Dan said, what am I to do, rat? What am I to do? I can't cook. I burn toast when I try and cook pasta. There's no toast involved, but somehow the toast burns. I'm gonna be useless. And the rat said, I've got a plan, Dan. I've got a plan. And Dan, 5 minutes later, walked into the room with a very, very huge bulbous chef's hat on his head, wobbling around almost as if he was carrying a great weight on top of his head. Is there something wrong with your hat? Said Tim Factory over the intercom. No, said Dan. Totally fine. And his hand moved down almost as if moving with their own agency. And he started cooking with expert finesse and he whipped up a beautiful meal.
Wait, is this Dan?
Yes.
In the rat's body? With the rat inside body inside his house.
I don't know which one is which. Yeah, it's the rat body with Dan in it, and Dan's in the hat. I don't know. One of them's there. Anyway, they cooked this meal, and Tim Factory took a bite, and it reminds Tim Factory of his childhood and makes him happy again. And he goes, this is incredible. You're the best chef in the world. Dan or the rat or whoever it is goes, well, I had a little help. And then at that moment, his hat fell off his head, and inside the hat, tons of cookbooks that he had read very quickly. And just then, it was a toilet flush, and the rat came out of the bathroom. What did I miss? He'd just been in there the whole time. And Tim Factory was like, excellent, you have passed the first test, and I will give you this gem. And they took the gem and it was beautiful. Wow. How many gems do we need to accumulate video game style before you will switch bodies back with us? 214, said Tim. So we best get on with it. And it was at the end of the day, undeniably, Dan How Watch. This has been Dan How Watch. Why am I cursed to do this terrible show? I'm Benedict Townsend. You can find me at Benedict Town on social media, and this has been YouTuber News, which you can find every week on the YouTuber News YouTube channel and also Snapchat. And you can also find YouTuber News Quick Bites every Tuesday. Also on Tuesdays, you can find YouTuber News the podcast. This show is like a fat, saturated. So you can find the show in those three places. Look after yourselves. Have a great week. I'll see you on the next episode of whichever of those shows comes first. I'll leave you with the wise words of Dan Howe, who said, "You do not have the rights to my likeness or name. Please cease and desist talking about me every week, or I'll be forced to pursue further legal action. Love you, Dan Howe." One of the nicest letters I've ever received. I framed it in my house. Subscribe!